Hello Internet. As a lot of you know, that I am a big advocate for fewer water changes and underground filters. And one of the ways that I eliminate the need for as many water changes as I have to do is by the use of live plants. And one of the best plants that you can use to help suck out the nitrates out of your water is 1, duckweed, and 2, pothos. There's been a lot of questions as to what's the best way to prepare your pothos. How do you get it? Where do you get it? What do you do? I'm here to try and help shed a little light on that. This is how I do it. I went to the store today and bought little plants. $7 cost me, and from what it looks like, there's several starts in here. So I will show you how I prepare. Normally I don't get the ones that have the hanging basket on them, but these just unclip real easy. Super easy. You can take this apart, take that hanging hook, just toss it away, turn it upside down, empty it out of the bucket. You see the roots here, they'll come untangled a bit. And then the next thing I do, I turn on some water and rinse the roots. I don't just pull it apart, I rinse the roots until they fall apart. Okay, fairly simple. We will erode away the soil, the potting mixture that is around the roots. If you're watching, it just washes right away, real quick and easy. See how it's just washing the gunk, the potting mix right off the roots. This is how I deal with it. It's fairly simple and straightforward. Give it a little shake. Little bitty pull on the parts here. It should fall. There's some of them coming out right there. Now the roots are going to be kind of tangled up in some places. Don't worry if your start falls under the edge of the water. It will recover. We just finished rinsing these out here. And if you run out of tanks to put your pothos in, you don't have to put too many in each tank, just 1 or 2. You can always repot this. It's fairly simple, straightforward to do. It does not require a lot of light. It can grow in low light conditions. The only thing is, if you buy the variegated kind, you may lose some of the variegation, and they will turn more green than they originally were. But that's not a real big deal. What we're looking for is to get rid of nitrates, not have everything look pretty. So, or you can just take what's left over and you can put it in a jar on a windowsill with some water. It does not have to have soil. You can grow it in straight water. Just make sure you give it a little bit of give it a little bit of fertilizer every once in a while if it's not going to be in a fish tank. I've seen a lot of people do this with small bowls with a betta in it. But you just take, just like this, cool water, rinse all the crud off the leaves. And as I mentioned, if you're like me, this was potted in peat, so the tannins won't hurt my tanks because I run black water extract in all my tanks. But you just take this and you just set it in your tank through an opening in the lid or the hood or whatever you got, and we'll get us a couple of these. I have one tank right now that's ready for some pothos, and we'll go introduce the plant right into the tank. And I'm going to use 2 in that tank. Come on with me. We're off on an adventure here. Now, this is one of my blackwater tanks, and if we look up here, I have a slot right there. And it doesn't matter if it falls in a little bit. Just let it be where it wants to be. This hole over here, we'll stick the pothos in, and as it grows over time, you can just train it around the tank and possibly up on this shelf over here that my grandfather made. But yeah, as you can see through here, I got the water level a little bit lower, so you can see in the back it makes an attractive addition to the tank with the roots in the water. I will be filling this back up, but I was in the middle of doing some tank maintenance, and I thought, you know, this would be a perfect time to add pothos to this tank. So here we go. That's as easy as it is. All we got to do is just train it around and let it be. Now I'm going to clean up some of the rest of these and add some of them to other plants. But one of the important things you got to remember is as these plants age, you're going to have to do some maintenance on them. This yellow leaf, just grab it right near the base, tip it off. It's all done, taken care of. Here's another plant ready for introducing into another tank. Let's see how many of these I got. I've got one $7 plant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and the 2 that we already put in the tank, that's 16 pieces that are already rooted and ready to go in the plant off of one $7 pot. Now, buying anything else, any of the baby tears or Anubias Nano, which I have some in my tanks, any of the crypts, they're going to cost you $5 to $7 per plant. Yeah, they come in a nice little pot, but you got to take them out of the pot and you got to introduce them into your substrate. This, for $7, I got 15 plants. Now, I do have a fully hooded tank that I fully intended on introducing pothos to, but it's kind of going to be a little bit inconvenient to have it out over the top of the hood. That is doable also, especially since we have lights under the hood. So we are going to go and introduce this big monster into that tank. And I'm just going to train it around underneath the hood as it grows. Come with me. We'll do this again. This is my 150 Community Angel tank. You can see I've got some zebra danios and some rasboras, and back in the back there you can see my albino shark. Oh, there's a little tiny guy. Hasn't been in there very long. And I got my adults in here. But if you look here, there's a slot way in the back here through the hood where I've got some wires and tubes and stuff already sticking. We just feed that in there. I'm not being real gentle. Not being gentle at all. If we break a leaf off, we break a leaf off. If we break a root off, we break a root off. Well, looks like I'm going to have to pull part of the hood out here so I can get at it a little better. Let's stick this down in here. Reach inside. Ooh, that tank is warm. Pull the roots inside. As you can tell, I'm not being real easy or nice or anything. There's a little bit of yuck on there. We'll just train it around the inside of the tank. And we'll look inside. You see back on top of the power head there. That's where the root ball is. And I'm not worried about the bit of sphagnum peat that was used as a rooting medium, because like I said, all these tanks have black water extract in them, and most black water extract is derived primarily from peat, sphagnum peat or black peat. Then we just put our lid back on, and as this pothos grows, I will just train it around the inside, and I'll just have to move it out of the way as I go to feed this tank or any maintenance I have to do. And the best thing is, if it breaks, I just stick it in a tank someplace else or in another tank, and I have another plant ready to go. As you can see, I have a whole buttload of plants here, but I have several other tanks that need some pothos, so I'm going to go and introduce those to some of the other tanks, and we will see how this progresses. The ones that I've had in the past did really well. I used to use the micro pothos. Some people call it the wandering plant or the miniature devil's ivy in years past, but this pothos just kind of stuck out to me, and the trend is going towards the larger leaf nowadays. So the hardest part about this whole thing is the mess that I made. I'm going to have to clean up quite a mess, but I think it's going to be worth it. I'll talk to you guys later. A couple more quick ideas on what to do with your leftover pothos, if you have any, or if you just don't like the look of the roots hanging down inside your plant. If you have a hang-on back filter, very simple, just slide it right in, and you can pretty up that ugly looking hang-on back filter, or you can do what I did, find yourself a nice little jar, put some tank water in it. That way you can save on having to buy fertilizer, and stick your leftovers in there. Makes an attractive houseplant on the windowsill, and best part about it, if you ever need another piece to go in a tank, you just pluck it out of here and pluck it in a tank. You can also put pothos in a sump if you've got a light. If it's underneath underneath your stand in an enclosed area, probably won't do very well unless you have a light down there. But pothos does very well in low light areas, so just a little LED light would do, or possibly a fluorescent. But like, if it's going to be in an enclosed area, you got to think about fire hazards, so keep that in mind. It's a very forgiving plant. It'll go anywhere you want it to go practically, except in a dark closet, and it'll be sucking up your nitrates. This is especially important for people who have really hard water and they don't like doing as many water changes You know, if they're running a reverse osmosis system, or if they, God forbid, you're buying your water because you have way too much rust in your water. If you are, sorry. I wish there was something I could do for you, but people with water softeners, cost you money to run your water softener. People who live in the big city that have expensive water bills, this will help cut down on the amount of water changes you'll have to do. But I cannot stress enough, this does not replace the need to use your test kits. Make sure you test your water. If your nitrates still spike, even though you're doing everything you can to keep it down, of course you're going to need to do water changes. But hopefully this will help you cut down on the amount of water changes you'll have to do. And don't just take my word for it. There's more information out there for you on the internet. Look around, see what else you can find. I hope this helps, and you guys have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later.